Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Tanel channel. My name is Tanel and today I'm finally giving my final verdict for the MSI Trident 3, the Arctic version of it. And of course I do have the regular Trident 3 also on my desk here, so we can compare them and see which one is better, or better looking at least. Which one might be for you, the black version or the white version? Do you like white or... oh god, let's not go there. Anyway, so today I'm gonna give my verdict for the Arctic and I'm gonna talk a little bit about those positive and maybe not so positive things about the Trident, and of course I'm also benchmarking it in Grand Theft Auto 5, in Battlefield 1 and in 3D Marks. So if you're interested in that, then stay tuned. So let's take a small quick little peek at the Trident 3 Arctic and maybe the regular version also, and then let's chat a little bit. So as you can see, the Trident 3 does look absolutely magnificent. I mean, the design of the Trident 3 is absolutely beautiful. For me at least, personally, I really love the design here, and absolutely stellar job from the design team of MSI. But yeah, my review here is pretty long, I guess, so yeah, without any further ado, let's head into it and let's check out what's inside of the Trident 3 Arctic. So the Trident 3 Arctic comes with an Intel Core i7-7700 which runs at 3.6 GHz but goes up to 4.2 while gaming. It also has the mini MSI GTX 1070 Aero ITX in it with 8 GB of GDDR5 memory. For the memory modules, it has two 8GB DDR4 2400 MHz SAW DIMMs in it, totaling to 16 GB of DDR4 memory. Also noted here that the motherboard has only two SAW DIMM slots for the memory modules in total, and yeah, it does use the small laptop SAW DIMM memory modules. For storage, we find that the specially built MSI motherboard for the Trident 3 has an M.2 socket there. So the main storage is an Intel M.2 600p series 256GB SSD. Of course, for the main storage I recommend minimum of 500 gigs, so if you have a chance of choosing, definitely get at least 500 GB of M.2 storage in it. For the secondary storage device, we can have any 2.5-inch drive, but in this Trident 3 Arctic, it has the HG SD 1TB 7200 RPM hard drive in it. It can be, of course, changed out to a proper 1TB SSD or whatnot. And yeah, for the motherboard itself, it has a specially built MSI board in it, so you can't really change it out. Mainly, I guess, because of the CPU cooler, which is specially built to be in that precise spot for this motherboard. So it wouldn't really work with any other motherboard, or would be a little bit too tricky. The CPU cooling itself seems pretty small for a 7 series Intel CPU, especially for the 7700 that goes up to 4.2 GHz while gaming. But yeah, I'm gonna come back to this a bit later. Oh, and the Trident 3 also has a Wi-Fi module in it, and of course has a small LED on top of the case that is powered by the MSI Mystic Light to give a nice finishing touch to the case. And I mean, the case, it is stunning. Very well built with nice attention to detail, and actually the black version does look even better. Might be a personal preference here. Also, the black version has a metallic finish on one portion of the case, while the Arctic is fully from plastic. I don't like plastic at all. Anyway, moving on to the front of the case, we can find two USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type A boards and one USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type C board. also a connector for the headphones and your microphone, and a VR link port, which pretty much brings the HDMI signal to the front of the case, so you can easily hook up your Oculus Rift or HTC Vive or any other VR device. Coming to the back of the case, we find the audio and mic ports, a LAN port, and interestingly enough, only one USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type A port. Seems a bit odd choice here, but we do find extra 4 USB 2.0 ports at least. Also there is the HDMI out, VR link, and the power supply unit ports. And of course the video card ports, where the GTX 1070 Aero ITX has 2 display ports, 2 HDMI ports, and a DVI port. And yeah, everything is powered by a single 330 watt power supply brick, which oddly is just 220 watts for the regular black model. So for upgrading your video card or CPU in the future, keep this in mind. 330 watts might be just about enough for a mini GTX 1080 or a future GTX 280, but 220 watts won't cut it. Although I haven't tested this, so don't take my word on it yet. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the specifications of the Trident 3. The regular version does come with a GTX 1060, and there is an option to get a cheaper Core i5 in it, and I guess the white Arctic model will have those same options a bit later on. But yeah, coming to the Trident 3, I mean, what makes it so special? Well, firstly, it is the size and design of it. Measuring at 34 centimeters in width, 7 centimeters in height, and 23 centimeters in depth. So overall, a tad smaller than the original Xbox One. And I don't mean the 2001 version of Xbox One, but the later model, the Xbox One that came out in 2013, but not the Xbox One that came after it that was a little bit smaller, but god, it's a little bit smaller than an Xbox One. One console for all.
One ring to rule them all.
Now, understanding that this Xbox One sized mini PC has the power of a huge desktop PC with an Intel Core i7 7700 running at 4.2 GHz in games, and a proper, like Louis Marco says, separate desktop GTX 1070 with an option for upgrading in the future, is just amazing. Too good to be true. What's the catch? Yeah, well, there is one issue with the Trident 3 that has to be discussed here. But it is fixable problem, I guess. The temperatures. So MSI has built a Silent Storm Cooling 2 on the Trident 3, which is stated with a quote: "Stay cool, stay quiet." Well, the quiet part is amazing. I love the cooler in that aspect, and I played on half an hour of intense Battlefield 1 at 1080p, ultra detail but upscaled to 200%, so pretty much like 4K, no problem, beautiful 50 plus FPS average. And the Trident 3 hardly made any noise even while playing, which was really awesome, but a bit concerning. So, I alt-tabbed out and launched real temp and GPUs to see what the temps are doing. Well, a bit later when I checked the temps again, guess! I'll give you a few seconds to think in your head. Half an hour of Battlefield 1. How much was the CPU and GPU temp? Well, the GPU wasn't too bad, as it has a really good cooler for a video card on it with the MSI Torx fan, and went up to 75 degrees Celsius. The fan works only when going over 50 degrees Celsius, so when surfing the web it just doesn't spin at all. Now, the CPU. Dear Lord, what the actual fuck! It was a steady 100 degrees! I kid you not! Alright, so I was playing like half an hour here, and yeah, it's pretty quiet as you can hear. There's hardly any noise coming from the Trident 3, and yeah, the temps might be a little bit high, but it's so quiet. It's so quiet. So if the temps are in the okay range, then I guess it's pretty fine. And I've been recording the temperatures and oh no 99 degrees Celsius on one core, 98, 94, 96, and the video card has gone to 75 degrees. I don't know if you can see it from that there, but okay. It's nice and quiet, but it needs a little bit better cooling, or the fan should blow air a little bit faster. A brand spanking new Trident 3 Arctic and 100 degrees steady when just playing Battlefield 1 for half an hour. Now that is very concerning issue, as this is a critical point for a CPU or the parts on the motherboard surrounding it. I didn't find a way to manually adjust the fan speed settings in the BIOS or via an MSI app for the CPU. In short, I felt that the cooler was way too quiet while gaming, almost making no noise at all. But I would definitely be willing to sacrifice this if I would get about 30 degrees Celsius less heat on the CPU, which in return would mean about the same amount less heat for all the surrounding components. Now, the really odd decision here is that there are vent holes where the GPU is sitting, but absolutely no vent holes for the CPU. And well, the CPU doesn't get any fresh colder air in fast enough to keep the temps down, I think. So testing it without the case cover produced just 10 degrees less heat on the CPU, so around 85 degrees Celsius or so. So yeah, this Trident definitely needs to have better cooling. I think you could actually develop and fit a small water cooling setup there with a single 120mm fan on top of it, just to cool it enough, and it wouldn't make the Trident 3 that much bigger. Anyway, let's move on to benchmarking. So I did benchmark it also in different games and in 3D Marks, so I guess some people really want to know how it performed. So let's begin with 3D Marks. So I launched 3D Mark Firestrike first, and it produced a score of 14,805 points, which is a really decent result for an i7 and a GTX 1070 setup. In 3D Mark Time Spy, it got a score of 5,703 points. Again, really decent score for a GTX 1070 system. Next up, I launched Battlefield 1, so at 1080p, everything at ultra detail, it got an average FPS of 126 frames per second, which is an awesome result for such a small PC. Turning the scaling to 200%, meaning 4K, it got an average FPS of 53 frames per second. Again, an incredible result for such a tiny PC. 4K is really no problem for it, unlike the temps. Next up was Grand Theft Auto 5, the fourth and the longest pass on 1080p, and everything cranked up to ultra detail, even in the advanced settings. And it produced an average FPS of 76 frames per second. So playing GTA 5 with graphics maxed out, absolutely no problem. Unlike the temps. Moving on to Tom Clancy's The Division, a beautiful game that I've been playing from the beginning, from the launch of the game. And yeah, in terms of graphics, it's just one of the better looking games out there. And on 1080p Ultra Detail, it got a score of 79.7 frames per second as average. Again, absolutely insane result. And lastly, the latest Hitman game on DirectX 12 and 1080p with everything turned up to ultra detail again. It scored a frame rate of a whopping 111 frames per second as average, so really great. So in short, I mean, the MSI Trident PCs, absolutely stunning job on the design. I love the design to death, to bits and pieces. And I do love that they are really compact in size, a little bit smaller than the Xbox One, and they have a beast of a CPU and a GPU inside of it. And one extra thing, the GPUs are just proper desktop GPUs, so you can switch them out, Of course, you do need a more powerful power brick, I guess, with a more powerful video card, but the power bricks are changeable, but I don't really know where you could get them. Anyway, yeah, what's my final verdict for the Trident 3 Arctic? I'm gonna give it on 7.5 out of 10, and yeah, the main issue has to be the overheating issue. I mean, it's in critical levels. I fiddled around in the BIOS, I fiddled around with the MSI apps, I couldn't manage to adjust the fan speed. So yeah, that's a really concerning issue. I'm gonna contact MSI and ask them a little bit more of that issue, because in BIOS I saw that the fan was at its maximum 50% when the temperatures get to 99 degrees. So I couldn't adjust the fan speed to 100%, which was concerning, and I don't know why. I tried the regular Arctic 2, also same issue. I couldn't adjust the fan speeds there, so need to check out what's the deal with that. But at the moment, the overheating issue is just, it's too much. I mean, it brings about a point and a half down, so it could have been a 9 or more scoring PC, mini PC, and I mean literally one of the best mini PCs that I've tested here. But the temperatures, they need to be fixed. Maybe develop a small water cooling inside of it somehow. I mean, there is definitely some space there to maybe make a really some special built water cooling system. I don't know. Designers, do your job. Think it could be done, I think. Anyway, I hope you liked my review here from the Trident, and I hope I wasn't overly negative about it. I mean, I really love it. It is a perfect mini gaming machine, but with those temps, I don't have a safe feeling on how long the Trident 3 will live. I mean, can it live past 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years? Although after 3 years, I guess you guys are gonna change out your PC anyway. In any case, thanks for watching my video here. If you liked the video, leave a like and leave a comment down below what you think of the Trident 3 and the Trident 3 Arctic yourself, and if you're willing to buy it, and if you think that the heating issue is big, how to solve it. And yeah, definitely, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's gonna be a lot more hardware reviews, previews, unboxings, and some gameplay stuff also. So yeah, thank you very much for watching me. It was a pleasure to make another proper review for you guys, and hopefully I didn't leave out anything, but if I did, leave a comment down below. Anyway, thanks for watching. Ciao for now.